Hi everyone, it's Katie from Crafted Creations. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're gonna be learning the second of the primary knitting stitches that we do, and we're gonna be doing our knitting swatch. We're gonna be learning the purl stitch, and we're gonna do that as a stockinette stitch. I know you're probably thinking, we already learned the stockinette stitch, Katie. What are you talking about? We did learn the stockinette stitch, but we learned the purl or the knit stitch. Today we're going to do the stockinette stitch, but we're going to be using the purl stitch instead of the knit stitch. Alright, so what you're going to need in the way of your materials, you're going to need your knitting needles, preferably right now, depending on the weight of yarn you're using. I'm using size 7 circular needles just to do this project with because I haven't been able to find my straight needles. You're going to need a pair of knitting needles. You're going to need your yarn. I'm using this metallic-y navy blue colored yarn, or royal blue, cobalt, whatever you want to call this color. Sparkly yarn. So you're going to need your yarn. You're going to need your scissors for cutting your thread, or your yarn. And you're going to need a yarn needle, which I have to find mine, but when I come back I will have my yarn needle and we will get started. So be right back. Okay, I'm back. I found one of my yarn needles. Still not the ones I've been looking for, but I found one of them anyway. Sure. Hang on. My puppy wants in my lap. Give me 1 minute. Okay. So we're going to start this one like we did the others. We're going to make a slip knot. Stretching the needles the right way. That might help. Well, that might help. Okay, get me situated here. Okay, so we're going to do this, the knitting line cast on. So go stick your knitting needle through the back. You're going to yarn over, bring it through to the front. You're going to slide that loop onto your hook, onto your needle. Sorry, I've got crochet on the brain. I was tinkering with a pattern earlier today. Go in from front to back. Wrap your yarn over your knitting needle. Pull it through to the front. And slide it onto your left needle. And the puppy is like driving me nuts. He wants on my lap and then he wants to go mess with the other dogs. Ay, ay. Okay. So go ahead and I want you to cast on 14 stitches, and we'll be back as soon as you get those in, and then we'll go ahead and start. Okay, so I went ahead and I did my cast on of 14 stitches. So you should have something that looks like this on your needle. So now we're going to learn the purl stitch. Go ahead and hold your thread or your yarn however you're comfortable. For the purl stitch, you're going to bring your yarn to the front of your work, just like so. Get some yarn off here. And for the purl stitch, what I want you to do is you're going to come in from back to front, just like that. I'll show you again. You're over here. Go in from the back in to the front of your stitch. Yarn over, pull it going from front to back, just like that, slide it up, slide that stitch off of your left needle, onto your right, just like that, again. We're going to go from back to front, wrapping our yarn around, sliding it down into the back, like that, and then now slide your stitch off, give it a little tug to tighten it up. Now again, back to front, wrap your yarn around, bring it through into the back, and here, bring your yarn up and slip it off, the loop off. So now on your right needle you should have 3 stitches. No, back to front, wrap your yarn, back, front to back, slide it up and slide that stitch off, back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slip off your stitch, back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide your stitch off. Periodically you might want to readjust your hands just to make it easier. Slide your stitches up a little bit. Now we're going to do it again. Go from back to front, wrap our yarn around, front to back, and slide your stitch off. Again, back to front, wrap your yarn around, front to back, and slide it off. Back to front, wrap your yarn, front to the back, and slip your stitch off. Readjust my yarn again. Back to front, wrap your yarn over, front to back, and slide off your stitch. Back to front, wrap your yarn over, front to back, and slip it off. And just kind of slide the ones on your right needle down, or if you're left-handed, the ones on your left needle. Back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide off your needle. Okay, back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide off your stitch. Last stitch, back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide it off. You just kind of tug your stitches down, make sure they're nice and straight, just like that. So you should have something that looks like this on your right needle. So now what I want you to do is you're going to turn your work around so that what was your right needle is now your left needle. You're going to be working off just like you did before. We're going to go from back to front, yarn over, from front to back, and sliding off. So again, front, from the back to the front, yarn over, my hands mixed up here, hold on. I explained it right, I'm doing it wrong, so give me a second. Okay. So back to front, yarn over, I'm having an issue with this today for some reason. Turn my stitches so I can maybe get through a little better here. So we're going back to front, yarn over, pull it through, and slide it off your hook. Figured out what I did wrong. I was trying to do it as a knitting stitch instead of the purl stitch. So make sure don't do like I just did. Make sure your working yarn is in the front of the work, not behind it. So now that I've got my yarn positioned where it's supposed to be, back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide it off. Back to front, yarn over, front to back, slide off your stitch, back to front, yarn over, front to back, slide off your stitch, back to front, yarn over, front to back, slide your stitches up, and there you go. Slide that one off. Back to front, yarn over, to the back, and slide off your stitch. Go from back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide off your stitch. Back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide it off. Back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide it off. Back to front, yarn over, front to back, slide your stitch off. Back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide off your stitch. Back to front, yarn over, okay, so we just did our second row, and you should have something that looks like this. Okay, hang on, the puppy wants back in my lap. Boo Boo. Yarn's in the front of the work. You've turned your work around. Now, take your right needle from back to front, yarn over, front to back, and slide it off. And you're going to do this all the way down. I think you pretty much should have the rhythm of it, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm not going to talk you through each step of it. You should be able to see what I'm doing here. And I'm trying to do this with a puppy on my lap who's trying to eat the plastic part of my needles here. So just bear with me. You might see his head in there. He's trying to eat my needles. Little Jason. He was born on a Friday the 13th, so my husband thought it would be cute to name him Jason. If you get my drift. He was kind of sickly there for a while. Weren't sure if he was going to make it, but he seems to be doing fine now. I just can't go very far from him. Okay, so we're on our last stitch. Just like that, and I'm just going to plunk that needle down while I straighten these out. And now you should have something that looks like, trying to position myself without him eating my thread or my yarn. You should have something that looks like that. So I want you to continue purling down each way. Each time you turn your work, you're going to purl. You're not going to do any knit stitch, just purl. Purl each row until you have 14 rows, and we'll be back to do the bind off together. All right? I'll see you back as soon as we have 14 rows. Okay, we're back, and you should have something that looks like this. We're just doing a tiny little swatch, 14 rows, 14 stitches. So now we're going to go ahead and do our bind off. I'm going to bind this off, similar to how we did the one with the knit stitch, only we're going to do it in purl stitch instead. So we're going to do 2 purl. So you're going to purl 2 stitches. You're going to take your needle and go through the front of the very first purl stitch you put on. You're going to go through the front of that, slide your right needle through that, and drop that over the second stitch on your needle. Again, purl a stitch. Take that first one, just like that, and pull it over the top, and let it go. Just like that. I gotta readjust my hand here, so I'm losing my grip on my yarn. Purl another stitch. Go through the front of that very first stitch that's on the needle. Bring it up and over. Sorry about getting out of frame. I was trying to make sure I didn't drop that stitch off of there. Now, again, purl. Go pull through the front, up and over. Slide your needle out. Purl. carefully adjust your work. Purl. Go through the front of that very first stitch and slide it off your needle. Purl. Go through the front of that first stitch and slide it off. Just like that. You're going to do this all the way down. Pretty repetitive. Slide it off. Purl. Insert the front stitch and slide it off. Purl. Insert and slide it off. Purl. Insert. Slide off. Sorry if you hear my dog in the background. He's barking at the neighbor. Doing what dogs do, I guess. Even though he does get a little annoying with it at times. Now last stitch. Purl. And just as before, I'm going to go through the front of that very first stitch and slide it off your needle. Go ahead and just set your needles down. Cut yourself off, cut your yarn off. And just like you would if you were doing crochet, just slide that tail off. Give it a little tug to tighten it up. Now this is where your yarn needle comes in handy. I'm using a plastic one. I prefer my metal ones, but in a pinch I'll use the plastic ones since I can't find my metal ones. They're around here somewhere. I just have yet to be able to find them. And how we're gonna do this is we're gonna knit through the stitches right here. I'll show you as soon as I get my needle through them.